Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome to all our listeners around the globe to Echoes of Innovation, the podcast where we explore transformative ideas, cutting edge technologies, and the minds shaping the future. I'm Harshal Mistry, Manager, Account Growth at Multitech Labs, your host for today's episode. As we step into 2025, we are deep diving into evolving role of artificial intelligence and its profound impact across industries. In 2017, only 48% of companies reported tangible results from their data and AI adoption, which has jumped to whopping 92% by 2024. A recent survey revealed around 56% of individuals feel comfortable using AI in customer service. Taking this further, today we'll be exploring an engrossing topic, the role of AI in enhancing client relationship in legal services. To apprise, joining us is our amazing guest, Sharon Mayer, President Dorothy AI. Her professional journey is no less than an inspiration from being managing director at Thomson Reuters legal division to currently heading Dorothy AI as a COO and a CRO, spearheading adoption of technology in the legal industry. With nearly 2 decades of her exposure to the industry, we look forward to she sharing her knowledge around how AI is revolutionizing legal services, from communication to automation, and how it's helping firms build stronger connections with their clients. Hi, Sharon. Good morning.
Good morning, Harshal. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here today.
First of all, welcome and thank you so much for accepting our invitation to be with us on this podcast.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here.
Great. So, ahead of immersing ourselves into the discussion, we would like to hear more about Dorothy so that our listeners have an idea about what Dorothy does or what the company is all about, what their mission is. So, and then we would dwell deeper into the topic that we would like to go ahead with the discussion.
Absolutely. So Dorothy AI really focuses on leveraging advanced AI to enhance efficiency and quality in the legal industry. Our mission is to empower legal professionals, with tools that reduce complexity, improve workflows, and really help firms and legal departments, align their IP strategies with their business objectives.
Oh, great. So this is a very great initiative, and I believe if I was a lawyer, that would have reduced my work by around a considerable amount. So that would be making me a happy lawyer, it seems.
Well, some of our tools, enhance quality. So maybe you spend the same amount of time, but it enhances the quality and you can be more confident. Others create a significant reduction in time. So we have, up to 60% of time reduction in certain tasks. So, I think that there's just so much you can do with AI technology and incorporating it into your workflow in the legal space.
Wow, absolutely amazing. Now, since we are talking about the legal industry, would like to hear about the challenges the industry is encountering and you feel needs to be addressed, particularly around the client communication and the relationship. Say when we talk about introducing AI, so how do you feel? What are the challenges actually the industry is facing?
I think this is a really great topic. So, in legal services, trust is paramount, and it's paramount between yourself and the client, so they can feel confident that the legal work is being done at the highest levels. And then there's this level of trust between the judicial systems or the systems that create the IP rights that folks are looking for. And that trust is important between the legal system and the practitioners as well. And so you really have to create these strong client relationships that are built on clear communication, transparency. And transparency is a very, very important topic as it relates to AI. So, it can't be just a black box, because you as the practitioner you can't just let, believe in a black box. You really have to understand the technology. So the lawyers just can't be knowing the law anymore. They really have to understand technology pretty deeply in order to service their clients appropriately. And our tools we've really designed to augment those fundamentals, and ensuring that our interaction is seamless, and then our clients, their interaction with their clients is also transparent and seamless.
Perfect. Great. Yeah, because now, like, when the AI was, and it's still emerging, but the major concern that people had or still have is about the ethical use of AI. So that is something that has always been in discussion since the AI has emerged.
That's right.
Right. So now, dwelling deep here again, would like to know your thoughts about how AI would play its role in the legal service today.
Yeah. So there's just so much data and information out there about the role of AI in legal services. It's actually one of the top 3 industries where AI is going to impact that industry significantly. Significantly meaning jobs might be in jeopardy, new jobs are created, and new access, right? That was traditionally really focused on specialists is now a much broader. You can create a much broader access. So it's really, I think, legal services is going to be one of those key areas to watch how AI is incorporated. And I think it's actually a good one to watch, because you've got all these practitioners who are also risk adverse to potential problems that might arise. So they're going to kind of hit those big issues early on and solve them for everybody else that comes through in this space. And so when you think about AI, it's really transforming the legal industry. It's automating some very routine tasks. Now, the beauty of legal work is it's very precise, and because it's precise and people are risk adverse, they tend to really look at past work and reuse it and tweak it. That used to require a whole lot of manual effort. And up until generative AI, even great tools out there that would have clauses and keep track of all those things, even just doing that, it was still time consuming. Now with generative AI, you can actually take a huge amount of data. In our case, it's patent data, gigabytes, terabytes of information. We have 180 million patents in our database. 130 million patents in our database. I don't want to overstate here, but with generative AI, you could really amass all of the information that's contained in there. Now, so AI is really transforming, automating tasks that used to just take so much time. So, for example, when you're drafting contracts, now contracts are basically it's not. You aren't creating the contract from a blank slate, really. You're really taking advantage of all the work that's been done over decades to create this great language, and you're just tweaking for your particular instance. So it's really ripe, and you see, I don't know, there must be 15 or 20 tools out there that are related to contract work. And patent work is a little bit different, a little bit harder, because you actually are not trying you're actually trying to differentiate yourself. So using the AI tools requires a significant amount of training on industry, patents, non-patent literature. All of those play into how you are going to take advantage of AI. And I think it's I see a lot of tools out there that are, writing patents, and the problem is if you just take a large language model that you've tweaked a little bit to do the patent, do prompt engineering, you're really doing a disservice to the end user, because you're actually it's actually doing what it does with contract law, which is take whatever's there and kind of just tweak it a little bit. Actually, no, you want to create something new. You're carving out something new, and you've got to create it in a new way. And so I like the tools that are less about crafting the actual patent, and much more and are much more flexible, and that you're actually interacting with it to help you wordsmith, to help you determine how you're going to approach this, because a lot of patent work is really all about strategy when you're doing the patent work. So I think it's going to be it's going to transform it. It already has transformed it today. I would say 2 years ago, you'd get a lot of pushback. Well, explain the AI to me. Today, people are like, well, how flexible is this? How can I use this in my work today? So it's fun to be part of the industry.
Got it. But when you were just talking about the patent data, and as you said, that data is something here. It's I would say, put it as, it's a gold for us in terms of AI. Now the question with large amount of data, comes a doubt: where would that data be used ethically, or is the data privacy being breached? So in that case, how do you feel? How would that be encountered?
So I think I mentioned trust is super important, and one of the areas of trust is the use of the data. So you cannot use client data or any data related to the work that you're doing to train the data, to train the models. So in the case of Dorothy, our models are trained on data that's publicly available, and not trained on client specific data. So that's really important to make sure that most of the large language models today, depending on your subscription that you purchase, don't use the data in their training. So I think that's a pretty common thing, but you definitely don't want to use a free one, because that's not what they commit to in the free one. You want to get the subscription or paid one. So that's really important. So that's one of the areas of, what are you doing with the data, and how are you using the data? And the other is, just making sure that you have all the security in place that allows you to, maintain a high level of confidence in your client base, that their data is secure.
Correct. No, that trust and transparency is something that anybody would look forward to, because legal industry is something that deals with somebody's all the details about how they want to proceed in terms of legalities. So that is something they need to work.
Yeah.
It's a very delicate balance between capturing the information and keeping it secret.
Right. And then you mentioned bias. And there are a few. There's bias, and then there's this other, weird phenomenon, and it's called hallucinations, although I think that's probably a misnomer. But really what happens is you've got this large language model models that have been built, and we've tried, all of them, all the big ones anyway. And you've got this phenomenon, and really it's these models are really basically predictors, right? They're predicting what the next word, sentence, paragraph would be. And so that prediction, they built the models on this amazing amount of data that costs hundreds of millions of dollars to build, and it's pretty good. And so it's like having the fastest, smartest intern you could ever have. Now, they are very eager to please. So in legal work, if you don't prompt appropriately, if you don't use it appropriately, it's not going to do its best AI brain thinking. So, we do a lot of education with our client base, and we really focus on how do you get the most out of the AI brain. And so those biases and those hallucinations can be minimized not only with great data. So our data is our models are sit on top of our data. So we know and are very confident in our data. It's not making things up. We always pride the hot links, the sources, that type of thing. So that's one way you can minimize the bias and the hallucinations. And the other one is just smart use of the tool on behalf of the user.
Right, right. And if you can just shed more light on the tools like Dorothy is providing, the AI solutions, how are they catering the illegal industry? It's not just about, you mentioned about the predictability, a prediction model that would predict what comes next in terms of drafting a case or while drafting for a patent. So what are the other use cases or business cases that are being catered by AI solutions?
So I think other use cases that are catered now in the case of Dorothy, there's more outside of Dorothy, of course, but in Dorothy, we really focus on patent work, and so we work on basically prior art searching. Now in the way that we've developed our tools is we've created an ecosystem that allows us to put different models in. So we currently have 5 models that we've created. Now, some are models that we've created that are proprietary to Dorothy, and some are models that we've tweaked that we've tweaked and catered to the use case. And so that ecosystem allows us to add models and upgrade models, because this industry, and I know, Harshal, you guys deal with it all the time, that in this industry, you have to be on the ball and know when to upgrade and when not to, right? Do I upgrade now, or do I wait for the new one that's coming out in 3 months? It is a time. How do I upgrade these systems? And so our models allow decision making all along the innovation life cycle. If you can think about when somebody is interested in launching a product, whether they're a startup or a big, the big corporations, they have to go through this whole process to determine whether they want to invest the resource. The initial investigation is what's out there today. What country should I file? Where should I file? Where am I going to file? What are my competitors are doing? So you do a lot of research at the beginning, and we've created a AI-based services around, we call it our alignment. So aligning your patent strategy with your business strategy. And so you start at the beginning and make determinations about, whether and where and how you're going to file, all the way through the process of developing the patent, from the initial invention disclosure all the way through monetization and protection of your invention. And all along there, you're always interested in interacting with both the R&D groups as well as the legal groups, and using these tools can help you craft emails to your clients about activities in prosecution. You can use our tools to respond to office actions. You can use our tools to help you refine your claims. You can use our tools to help you figure out what's going on in the market, what your biggest competitors are doing, where they might have make, use, and sell, where they have product revenue by country. You can use our tools to interact with this big, large list of patents that may or may not be problematic. You can run and freedom to operate search and analysis. So you can use it all along the whole innovation life cycle. And I think we've tried to create tools that you can trust, that are highly developed, highly specific to the task, and are using models that are tried and true and tested with our group.
Right. Oh, excellent. Actually, now after hearing you, it seems that the amount of work that your platform would help reduce in terms of filing a patent is extraordinary, because the amount of research that needs to go in before filing for a patent, then the placement of that particular product or the platform which you are trying to get into the market. So understanding the entire market, what your competitors are doing, that is really important to ensure that the success of that particular product or the platform that you're bringing out. And definitely patent is something that it's not a small step that you're taking for your brainchild, I would say. And it is very important to understand each and every step that you would be taking to make it a success.
Yep, I think that's exactly. It's a good summary, better summary than what I did. I do want to say, and I think this bears mentioning, and that is, you really want to have a partner in your AI tools that understands the legal space, understands the patent space, because in our case, we collaborated with Carnegie Mellon University to develop our ecosystem. We collaborated with them on our tools, and you want to have that combination of legal expertise as well as AI expertise, so you can kind of get the best model suited for the purpose that it's set out to do.
Got it. Right. No, that actually, this is, I would say, it's a commendable thing that you are doing in terms of easing out the pressure from the patent perspective in the legal industry. Now, moving forward, see, here what we're talking about is the client relationship, and we would like to hear your thoughts on how AI is enhancing that. So do you feel, or can you share your thoughts on how AI can help the personalize the client experience in the services for the legal industry?
Yeah. So we spend a lot of time here because Dorothy isn't delivering the end product to the client, the end client. Dorothy is delivering tools to practitioners who deliver it to the end client. And whether it's an in-house or a specialty services, IP services firm, or whether it's a law firm, we are essentially helping them to deliver the end product, whether it's a memo or filing for them or drafting a patent, or helping them make decisions around strategies. And so we spend a lot of time with our customers to help them deliver an excellent client experience. So we have bespoke reports that add value to the work that they do. We provide them data so much easier so that they get all this objective data in one place so that they can analyze quickly and deliver the end result to the clients. We provide easy ways for them to, craft a memo to a client that allows them to spend more time on, really the strategy, because the strategy is the piece that makes sense for them to spend their precious time not typing up the memo, right? So I think that there's the client experience we deliver to our customers, which help them to deliver this end client experience, which is pretty exceptional. And I think maybe a few years ago, it would have been very difficult for a practitioner to say, well, I used AI to help me on this. But I think going forward, starting now and going into the future, it's going to accelerate. All your end clients would fully expect you to be using AI tools to help you deliver the services. And that they would expect you as the practitioner, our customers, to embrace the tools, to understand the tools deeply, so that they can use the tools effectively and deliver that client experience. So it's interesting. This is something that we spent a lot of time already before all this evolution came up, and I think it's got to be whoever delivers tools really needs to understand what's the client experience that their user is going to deliver, and how can these tools help with that.
Right, right. Actually, this was going to be my follow-up question that what features or tools that Dorothy is providing to help the legal professionals stay connected with the clients. So I'm glad that you touch based on all the tools that you are offering. Now, having said that, do you feel that AI would improve the responsiveness and the communication between the legal professionals and the clients?
I do. You definitely hear it, right? So, um, and we don't have these tools built into our tools,
Hmm.
but I use tools just to help me manage the emails, right? So help me manage emails and organize them, and ping me with, oh, you need to follow through on this one, you need to answer that one, and and helps me stay on track. So I feel like AI based tools are just kind of altering the way the way we've worked, and it's kind of helping to create in my day there were all the administrative help was really very narrow, and only a few people got some administrative, so you barely got somebody to help you, so you were always trying to keep track of all of your activities yourself
Right,
and your emails. Well, sometimes, I mean, I'll sometimes get 300 emails in a day. And so it's
right.
very difficult to go through 300 emails plus get my work done. And so,
Correct.
so you tend to skim them and see, here's this one's important, that one's important, or you see one, you think, well, I can deal with that later. Well, then you forget, right? So it's
Right.
just really nice to have these tools. And so I think AI tools are really
Mm.
helping to really improve responsiveness that are out there just generally, and I'm excited to see how they get incorporated into our tools down the road, and in tools generally within the legal space.
Right, right. Actually, I agree to you because I was just recently going through one of the surveys conducted by Reuters, and they did mention that the response time to the client, like 41% of them agreed to improvement in the response time. So clients were getting faster updates on the case that they have filed or the patents or anything that they want response from the lawyers, and at the same time the legal organization was able to provide them predictions basis the advanced analytics, so that helped them in a way to take better decisions. So almost 33%, that's quite a chunk, which agreed that definitely AI would help them make good decisions or the correct decisions, I would put.
Yeah. Oh, I've read that one. That's a great survey. I use that all the time in helping to think about the market. And I do an attitudes and usage study.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done it every year for probably 8 years, looking
Wow.
at and it really is all about what products and tools are out there, what they like, what they don't like, and the and also taking a look at what to look into the future. And it's very interesting. So I did sort of a comparison from a few years ago to now. And a few years
Mm-hmm.
ago, the big huge problem was they could see this problem happening where more and more
Mm-hmm.
and more skills were needed in order to do legal work. So this analytical skills, these tools, this data that's available that could help make good decisions. They felt like they got it, but
Mm-hmm.
and they need it, and so they were paying $20,000 and $30,000 with a specialist IP consultancies to get data. Organized data back to help make decisions, rather than having those skills internally, which would be significantly cheaper if you have a number of these tools, a number of these projects. And so they had this sort of idea, the leaders. So this was law firm department leaders, and it was also leaders within the corporate space for IP departments. These were all in IP space. And the 72% of them, so it was like 6 years ago, I think was the one I was comparing it to. 6 years
Yeah.
ago, 72% of them could see that there's this problem of, I need this data and I need it analyzed, and I don't have the skills in house to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's quite number.
quite a big number. And that was pretty consistent over the course of several years. It changed a little bit a couple years ago, and then I just did one recently in 2024. And it was very interesting. So, and I felt like they're closing the gap in talent, because that had been reduced by 20%. So it was in the 50s, right? So almost 20% was in the 50s that felt like they didn't have the talent in-house. So significant number of firms and departments have started to hire and require those kinds of skills to have within their group to help make those decisions. And I think AI is really making that so much easier for lawyers to pick up those skills. So I think that's a good indication that that's happening.
Right. And do you feel that AI would help lawyers handling large volumes and even reducing human errors in terms of giving them or responding to the customers?
Oh, I think human errors, it's significant. When we get feedback from clients, that's one of the things they love, right? They can plop, their response in, and they can say, tweak this or do something with it. And our tool will adjust their response based upon, what the examiner asks and what the examiner said. And they can point out gaps, like here's this gap and that gap and that gap. And this tool can help them understand those gaps so they can go and fill them. When you're busy and you think you're doing a good job doing a review, or you just got somebody else in your department to do the review, oftentimes they don't have that same kind of intense ability that an AI brain can do. So absolutely.
Right. No, I completely agree to that, because I'm just looking at one of the survey reports, which clearly says that 59% of respondents cited that AI can help deliver great value. And even reduction in the human errors, 35% of them agree to that. So definitely, yes, I can say that an AI is enhancing the client engagement or client relationship. Definitely, yes. Now, yes, definitely we did talk about the transparency and the trust towards the start of the podcast. But I would like to hear out more in a more elaborate way that how you feel that AI would improve the transparency in the legal processes for the clients and help building trust. Because the same survey says that around 56% confirm that quality of the data was a major challenge. It's more from the law firm that the quality of the data that they have is the major challenge.
Yes. And I think it's actually the challenge for tool builders like Dorothy AI.
Correct.
And so you have to go and build that data or provide tools. So we provide a way for clients to actually take their data and incorporate it, so they can kind of have basically the last say on as to what data they want to include in their solution, and the ability to do that. So I think that's still one of those things that you have to make sure whoever you're working with, whatever tool you choose, that underlying data is high quality data. In legal space, which is why I think it's one of the ones that is particularly attractive in the AI space. It's because the data exists out there. Pretty comprehensive data sets exist, so you can take the whole data sets or parts of the data sets to do training, to do all the AI based work. So I think in legal space you're actually kind of lucky. I think where you run into issues is where you don't want the general data. You want a very specialized set of data that only you have in your possession. Well, you don't want to put it out there for the world. You want to make sure that a training is only done for your business purposes and your for your work. And there are lots of tools out there. We have tools, but there are lots of tools out there to do that, to help you, take advantage of that expertise. And then you don't have to worry about hallucinations or, things. And whether it's too general, because it'll be very specific to your purpose. So I love that about AI. You can train it on little smaller data sets, and I think that's great.
Right. Now, with the AI evolving at this rapid pace, do you really feel that the legal professionals would be replaced by AI, or it would be a great support to the entire system?
I think that's a really good question. I've done some articles on this. I have my personal opinion is AI is not going to replace lawyers, but lawyers who know AI are going to replace lawyers who don't. And so
Right.
I think, I don't care where you are in your career. I think so for so long, people who are longer tooth in their career, like myself, you maybe could rely on learning and understanding things at a superficial level in order to lead. And I don't think that's the case now. I think that unless leaders embrace and understand what AI can do for their firm and create workflows and spaces and tools and attract talent who loves that that space, you're in a different position. It's not just for the younger folks; it's actually for everybody, and
Right.
and we see it. We see firms, running around trying to say, "Oh, we've got AI. We've got AI." Before it was like, "We don't use AI." Now they're like, "We've got AI. We've got AI, and we incorporate it, and we're smart about it," because it's an expectation. And so it's changing so fast. And I firmly believe that lawyers who don't embrace that are going to make less money at a bare minimum, because they'll be slower at getting things done, and the expectation that people are using AI might change the price value relationship. And so I think it's I don't think it will remove jobs. I think it will create a new category of skill set, and I would tell everybody to start figuring it out. Understand Python programming, take prompt engineering classes, and deeply understand that, and actually start using it to do things that you feel really comfortable. In the end, you're responsible. You're the one that's handing that work to your client or the courts. You are responsible. You have to do it. But if you don't understand how to use the tools, you're either going to be really, really slow, or not have the highest quality.
Right. No, I completely agree to that part, and I have seen that growth as well, because in the recent past, when I was just doing my research, an interesting fact that came across me was that by 2018, I suppose, out of 43%, like 43% of the organizations across which the entire survey was conducted, 43% of the organizations spent 5% of their budget on AI. Now, in last 4 years, by the end of 24, that number has gone to 52. So that is a significant amount that has increased. So now people are investing more into AI, trying to enhance their capabilities in adopting AI and making tweaks to their overall system.
I think that doesn't surprise me, and it's really great for AI, companies like Dorothy AI that build AI tools. So I think that's great. That doesn't surprise me, actually.
Right. Perfect. And Yeah. So, just wanted like do what kind of role the lawyers would still play in maintaining the meaningful client relationship, even with the AI assistants. Yes, the tools are there; they would help you draft all the communications with them. But what a role would a lawyer play?
I think that's a really good question. And we actually have a series of courses that we provide to our clients that help them talk to their end clients. Our customers help them talk to their end clients because now their role isn't, I'm the expert in law, right? And
Hmm.
I will tell you the nuances of law. It's not necessarily I will draft this patent, or what I call order takers. They give you an
Hmm.
order to write a patent, you go write the patent and you come back to them. You're actually now with AI, you can kind of elevate your position and create that client connectivity through being a strategic partner, because they
Hmm.
can go out on language models and ask a question for a lot. They can get the basics themselves.
Hmm.
What they're really looking for, what's the strategy behind whatever action we're going to take? What's the strategy? And you are much more of a strategic a partner. And then once you created that overall strategy, which if you do that, it takes a little bit longer. I just did an article on this actually.
Okay.
Do a little bit, it takes you a little bit longer to become that strategic partner, but once you do,
Hmm.
then they aren't going to then be looking for somebody who's another order taker that might be a little bit cheaper. So it's a great way to create great strong relationships, that retention, and then it creates
Hmm.
new value, because now they're saying, well, what you really need to do is a strategic alignment report or a filing strategy, and now you
Yeah.
have something more that you can offer them. So I think it does in the end create value for you, but you are no longer just the order taker or the person who's basically regurgitating legal precedents. You're really a strategic partner.
Right. Right. Now, since you are already there in the field for over 20 years and you have seen evolvement of AI into the legal space, so how do you feel that legal professionals can strike a right balance between the automation and the personal touch using AI?
I think I think it's I think it's even more important in the legal space to make sure that the human touch is there. So I
Hmm.
always we talk about that workflow. How do you create that workflow, and have the checks and balances that you need within the workflow to make sure. Now, if you're a solo, what does that checks and balance look like as a
Hmm.
solo versus somebody who has a department with colleagues? But you want to make sure that you have a very an appropriate process for the task at hand. So if you're using AI to do research, analysis, drafting, make sure that you have those important checkpoints that make sure that you have, first of all, what's this coming up with the strategy, make sure that it's aligned with the strategy that you came up with, but also that it's been executed effectively. So, like I said, AI doesn't replace lawyers, but lawyers to know AI are going to replace lawyers that don't. And I think it's important to have that balance, to have those checks and balances, checks in place as you develop your workflow.
Right, right. Definitely. Now, how do you foresee the future of AI in legal services and client relationship? What do you feel that the new trends that is emerging, or are there any new technologies that are getting incorporated to enhance this overall experience?
I think that there are all kinds of, the angenic AIs are all coming out. So the agents, right? So the agents are
Mhm.
coming out. And I
Right.
think that it's going to be a really interesting, I think you're going to have a few client interactions that are actually outside of human interactions that are going to come through these, AI agents that these firms and departments have developed for, uh, for whatever purpose, right? Whatever the purpose is, if it's it's just simply some flowing from one place to another as a contract goes through approval, if it's if it's answering kind of easy questions, I think it's going to be that's going to be sort of the near term where the AI is going is creating something specific to you that maybe will be an interactivity that would happen with the clients that will then be fed to the group to see, oh, this is what the questions are coming up, and this is what client so and so is interested in, and they were looking for information that helps them answer a quick question. Before, right, you might have a quick question on a filing that you have in place, and you might have a quick question for your agent or your attorney, and you type up your question, you send it via email, they get to it, they think about it, they review it, and maybe they send it to you within however many hours or days. Whereas it was a simple question. If you had access to all of the information that's within the repository, you could quickly ask the question with an agentic tool. So I think that's going to be near term. I would say long term, there's all kinds of these great tools, and I spend a lot of time thinking about all these wonderful tools that read facial expressions and can feed to you information about how somebody's thinking about or doing, thinking about your negotiations, or thinking about whatever's going on in those facial expressions and those nuances, and it's getting pretty good. So I think that's going to be a very interesting how it unfolds with in-person interactions, or even on Zoom's interactions. I think that's going to be an interesting long-term play in the space. And I also think there's going to be some great chains of tools that starts here and goes all the way to the end, and in between some of the work is done by AI agents, and then just approved. And so it's going to be pretty streamlined as our training improves, as our understanding of the workflow improves, because it's pretty similar from firm to firm and department to department.
Yeah, correct. And I would definitely second to your first thought about answering the questions, because in the recent times, we have seen the chatbot getting so much popular in the recent times, then the effectiveness of it handling the normal questions, the simpler questions, and definitely then going to the higher level or human interventions when there are complex questions that come into picture. So that is something that has evolved over the time, and the adoption of chatbot has changed the game like anything, not just in the legal space, but across the industry, I would say.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Great. And do you feel that AI will continue to play an increasing role in fostering the deeper client relationship? Still, there are scope of evolving, or how, to a greater extent, how we can evolve it?
I think so. I think it'll be much more adoption, right? As the tools become more sophisticated and comfortable and easier to use, more and more of the practitioners will use those, and then start to create those that adoption will create those stronger relationships. And I think being in the legal field, some people are like, oh gosh, aren't we the unlucky ones, because we're the ones where AI is really going crazy to cut us lawyers out. But actually I think we're the lucky ones, because we get to get on this bandwagon early, and get those skills and get that knowledge, and I think that we're lucky in that it's kind of forcing us to go through this. So I feel like this is just the best time to be in law.
Right. Yeah, correct. Very great advice now. Now, since there was a recent survey conducted for the C-suite people across the globe, around 50 countries, across 50 countries, and out of almost 76% of the leaders were struggling to adopt AI. So do you have any steps or any advice for those professionals, how to start today itself, and how can they make their adoption journey much more easier?
It's a tough one. It's hard to say, what would make it easier for that adoption for that leader, and I think part of it is if you aren't doing the day-to-day work where you have to use it every day and you get proficient and then you get to be an expert, all that is just wonderful for you. But that leader, you have to understand how it works. And so I would find tools that are specifically geared towards the leaders, right? Tools that are geared towards leaders and how leaders would, there are all kinds of tools out there for that. And then just start using those. And then that will, in my opinion, that's a way to do it. The way that we handle it with our tools, with all of the levels of whoever's going to be using it, we have specialized training for that specific function. And that way you get an understanding of how you can use the tools yourself. Because even if you don't use the tools day to day, what are some of the functions you're going to use when you want to have a quick question answered, or you want to check on some work that was done? And that would be my recommendation: is you really have to dig in. You can't just. I just think it's going to be hard to be a leader of people who use AI if you don't know how it works.
Correct. No, I completely agree to that, because if it's all about the team always looks up to the leader, and if the leader is not at the right place at the right time, then it would be a mess for the entire team.
Yes.
Perfect. So now, are there any recommendations or any training recommendations that come from your end for the law firms looking to adopt AI? Specifically, from the client perspective or from the client relationship strategies when I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think from the client relationships, I would focus on training that help you to understand their problem and get closer to them from a strategy perspective. So, for our customers, we do provide that training, and we do provide actual tools that can help you do that. So certainly reach out if you're in the patent space. If you're not in the patent space, you probably want to look for tools that focus much more on strategy and how to talk to your client in a more strategic way. There are a lot of there's a big need for that because lawyers tend not to do that. But I would say that's going to be a good skill.
Right. Great. Thank you for the recommendations as well. Now, just we would sum it up across. Now, what are your final thoughts on the future of AI and client relationship in the legal services?
I would say, AI, it isn't just a tool, right? It's a real partner in elevating your legal services and your responsiveness to clients. And I think the expectations from clients are that you're going to use AI responsibly. And when you use it responsibly and thoughtfully, it can really strengthen those client relationships and help lawyers provide, even greater value.
Right. Great. Perfect. And now, just where can our listeners learn more about Dorothy AI and get in touch with you or any of the person in the organization in order to get some solution or some help for the use case that they have?
Yeah, you can go to www.dorothyai.com, or you can reach out to me at Sharon, SHARON, at dorothyai.com.
Oh, perfect. Right. So listeners, do make a note of it. All right. Thank you so much, Sharon, for sharing your valuable insights with us today. Your expertise on the role of AI in enhancing client relationship has been incredibly enlightening. We have gained a deeper understanding of how law firms can leverage technology to build stronger, more meaningful connections with their clients. For our listeners, we encourage you to explore the resources mentioned by Sharon and continue to stay informed about the evolving landscape of AI in the legal sector. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for the next episode of Echoes of Innovation, powered by Maruti Tech Labs.